Good evening all my scrapping friends, welcome back to the shed, welcome back to Scrapping Scotland. Today I'm going to take apart a couple of small motors just because they're actually a little bit different, and you will come across these kind of motors if you're scrapping. Now normally they come from things like hoovers, they are quite small, they do have like a cap on them that you have to remove, but they all have a little aluminium fan on them as well that's worth taking off. You can check these out before you take them apart. Regardless, I take them apart anyway, even if they are aluminium. Obviously I don't take the aluminium out the motor, I'll leave the aluminium in there and put that in the motors pile, but I do take these apart because I do take the aluminium out of it, and commonly they've got a little brass sleeve for the brushes as well that attach to the motor. So I'm going to show you, I've got two here that I'm going to take apart. So hopefully it'll not be too long a video, but I've got this one. So as you can see, it's a very small motor, not a very big one at all, but as you can see here, there is no nut. Okay, so there's no nut to undo, there's no screw inside, and normally that can be the kind of things that make these a little bit of a pain, because you actually have to grip onto the motor to stop it spinning to get the nut off. Yeah, so if I show you this one, for example, there's one with the nut, okay, and normally you have to grip onto the commutator that's inside there and hold that while you undo that nut. Okay, so we're going to take both of these apart. This one's a little bit different. As you can see on the bottom there, the bottom side of the upper part of the motor, there is screws. Normally again, those screws are attached to fan inside, or just under the fan, the kind of plastic part of the fan. This one appears to be, as I say, the screws are underneath, so a little bit easier to get to, which I'm hoping means it's easier to take apart. This one shouldn't be too much of a job. I need to bash off this top cap and then probably bash this through as well from this side, and then to release the aluminium fan inside I'm going to have to bang through that pin. Okay, so nothing to it but to do it, guys. Let's crack on and let's try and get these apart. So first things first, we get nice and tight in the vise so we can then bash off this top cap. Again, a couple of ways to do that. You can do it just by using a screwdriver, get it in and bang it off, or you can use your cutting wheel and just cut up the side of it and pull it off. So to save the cutting wheel, we will try and use this method. Okay, there's the top cap, just steel, shred steel. Then, as you can see, instead of screws coming through this, there is these kind of plastic pieces. Now, to deal with them, I think probably the best thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut them so they're flush. There's only two of them. So we'll just cut these so they're nice and flush. Okay, so nice and flush now. Now what I want to try and do is actually bang this whole internal piece out, and that should leave the little square part of the motor inside, okay? This part, that will stay inside and the rest of it should fall out, okay? Cut the small taps. as you can see, we've separated this piece and we now have left the square piece inside that's still attached. I have squeezed that in a little bit, so that's going to be a little bit more difficult to get out, but we'll deal with that one in a little minute. Now we want to get this out, so as I say, we're going to have to bash through this piece here to actually pull off the bottom part of this motor. Okay, keep it still loose in the vise. We'll move this up a little bit. Okay. And we'll bash this out. Okay, I think we're out. Yes, we are. Things falling off, so there's a little part of the motor. Then, as you can see, we've got our brass sleeves. Spring there. Okay, no more metal on this plastic piece. Couple of little springs. And then we have our fan, or a little aluminium fan. Now this piece in the middle, it feels quite heavy, so this piece in the middle is going to be steel. Okay, and we need to get that out. We need to separate our steel from our aluminium. Okay, so let's do that. So we'll put it in the vise. We'll get our punch. And there we are, there's our piece of steel. And there's our piece of aluminium. Okay, let's just get a magnet. Nothing sticking here, nothing sticking there. There's aluminium. This little ring piece that came out as well, aluminium. And our piece in the middle is steel. Okay, so now we're left with this piece. Now again, a couple of things you can do here. You can get a screwdriver in or a punch and bang it out, or you can just cut it with your cutting wheel. Again, I like to try and save the cutting wheel if I can, and if I can bash it through, then I shall. So let's try that. Okay, we'll stick it on the vise now because it is starting to hit the table. A couple of more hits and I think we'll have this one out. It seems to be doing everything it possibly can to stay in, mind you. Doesn't defeat us here at Scrapping Scotland, guys. Okay, so here's a little motor. let's give it a little love kiss. And that little love kiss shows us right here that that is a copper motor. Okay, so a little bit of copper in that one. Lovely jubbly. And there's our steel shred. And that, guys, is that motor taken apart. So we've obviously got a couple of little bits of brass out of that as well. And we got a little bit of aluminium from it too. Okay, so win-win. Good stuff. Alright, so now we come to this one. Now this one, it might be a little bit harder. The first thing I think I'll do with this one is I will take out all the screws that I can physically see, including these ones on the bottom, these ones in there, and then we'll try and get this off. Okay, now whether that's going to bash off or whether I'm going to have to cut it, I'm not too sure. Usually when these ones are crimped, they're a little bit more difficult to get off with just banging it with the hammer and the screwdriver. But again, we're not going to know until we try. Okay, so we've got some normal Phillips screws here. We'll get them out. Okay, let's get out this Phillips screw. It's not really attached to anything within the motor. And then we'll take out these ones that are underneath the fan area of the motor, the cooling area. We have 4 of these in total. Okay, final one. Alright, so nothing comes straight off with that, which is fine. I didn't expect it to. Do have a little bit of rubber on top of this one. We'll take that bit off. Now again, I could try right now to try and bash this through. I'm not sure that would be productive, but it was, so that was good. Yeah, that was really good. I was happy with that. Alright, and we'll deal with this bit again a little bit later. We'll deal with this part first, okay, this piece. So again, we do have now this bit freed up, so we can put that in the vise and hold on to it and get this nut out, okay? So again, we'll try it with the screwdriver first of all, and try and kind of bang it off. And if we can't do that, we'll just cut it. There we go, nice and easy. Was able just to cut through it a little bit there with the movement of the screwdriver, and then just got in underneath that hole and was able to take the rest of this off. So that goes in our shred. Okay, looking underneath this, there's no other screws. Another little plastic fan here. So again, we're going to put this back in, we'll get a little socket and we'll get this off. Nice and tight in the vise. Okay, out with the Work Pro socket set. Let's find the right socket. Not that one. Okay, that little fella will do us nicely. Now sometimes I do see with these, and it is happening this time as well, is it does loosen, but it doesn't come off. And that is nice and loose, but it's not coming off anywhere. I can spin it with my fingers and it's not coming off. Now when that happens, what I try and do is I get a screwdriver underneath, try and wedge it a little bit as I'm undoing it. So, screwdriver. We get it underneath and that gives us a little bit of force to hopefully drive it off. So that does look like it's making some headway. Again, just try and get it right underneath. There we go. So there's a little tip for you guys, because as I say, I do come across this problem quite often. So if you are getting the nut and it's spinning and it feels loose and it's not lifting off, get the screwdriver in underneath it, try and get underneath the washer that sits under the nut, and then just give it a slight, push down. So you're obviously pushed down from the handle, so you're pushing up with the screwdriver, and then, like I say, if you're using a socket set, you should be able to do that with one hand with the ratchet, and you can get it off nice and easy. Okay, this is all aluminium, and that will go in an aluminium pile. Okay, the nut and the two washers are just steel. Okay, we don't need our socket set anymore, so we'll put that away. And now we can take off the heavy plastic, and that is quite heavy plastic actually. We've got ourselves a little plastic piece here as well. See if we can just cut that off. There we go, there's a little rotor. And the key thing with these as well, these can go straight in your motors, or you can take them apart. There is a video of me taking these apart. But there is nice copper here as well, some nice copper there, and nice copper in here, okay? It can be really difficult to get this stuff out unless these are much bigger. You do get much bigger ones than these, and they are easier to get this piece of copper out. These small ones, I don't tend to mess about with them too much, I just stick them straight into my motors. But you can take this piece off, as I say, and get the copper out of that piece, okay? For now, it goes in my motors bucket. And then again, we've got the same problem as we had with the last one. We've got the stator inside here, this little square metal piece that contains, hopefully, our copper, okay? To get that out, first of all, we'll have to get out the sleeves. As you can see, there's a nice little bit of brass on the end of this sleeve. But unfortunately, looking through it, not sure if you can see, let's see if I can get a bit closer. You can see up this side, let's move this bit out of the way. Fortunately, the sleeve is not brass, it's just steel. That's not great, but is what it is. Okay, so let's find the little piece for this. One of these little starry screws. And we can just pull these out. As I say, it's just the ends of these that are brass, so we can pull them off. Okay, there's our brass end, a little bit of copper that's attached to the brush. Okay, we'll deal with that kind of stuff later. With this, we'll just take the plastic off it. We recycle our metal, it doesn't have to be covered in plastic, okay, and that's just steel, as I say. And we'll just stick that straight into the shred. So as you can see, This one sticks, that's the steel one, and then you've got the brass one which doesn't stick. Okay. Okay, same with this one, we'll just get this one out as well. There's our little bit of brass, a little bit of copper wire. It's got the spring attached to it as well. But essentially we're just releasing that from the sleeve. Okay, and there's our little bit of steel to go in our shred steel pile. Okay, a little quick clean up, get our plastic waste, get that out of the way. And then, as I say, we've got the dilemma here of, do we just bash this straight through or do we cut it? Okay. First of all, we'll get our little brass connector off on both sides. And with this one, you can do again two things here. You can just try and bash it through as it is and bash it out, or you can cut it this way or cut it that way. First of all, I just prefer to cut it straight up the way, okay, straight up, and get this off. So again guys, this is all about your preferred method. I'm showing you both ways, obviously the way of just bashing it out with a screwdriver, and obviously the secondary way of cutting it out. Okay, so we shall cut this out. Okay, nice and quick, no messing around. Widen it while it's in the vise, and then it just drops out. Okay, there's for our shred steel, and there is our commutator, not our commutator, our stator, with our, hopefully, once again, copper. But again, we'll give it a little love tap with a grinder, or the cutting disc it actually is, not a grinder. Okay, and we give it a love tap because unfortunately this one is silver, so this one just goes straight into our motors. Okay, we're not going to take that out of there, it's aluminium, not too interested in taking that little bit of aluminium out, probably worth more just staying in the motor. Okay, so we'll put it in with our other ones. Okay, but we did have this one that did have copper, so we will take this apart. Now with this, I don't bang through it with a hatchet, with the axe, with the meat cleaver. Don't bang through it at all. I just cut it on either side and then wedge it out. Okay, that seems to be the most effective way of getting this out. You're not getting any wastage, anything like that. And really it's all about maximising as much as you possibly can. Okay, so this is what we're going to try and do here. I do have to take these little bits of plastic off, just so we can cut it and then obviously wedge it out. So we'll do that on both sides, on both ends. Okay, so now we're ready to cut. So I do recommend you use your sharpest snips. As it can be quite difficult to clip through it. You try and clip it all at once, it's a little bit more difficult, but if you take it in just 2 or 3 cuts, then it's a little easier. Okay, where's my screwdriver? Here it is. So we just wedge out a little bit, and as you can see, nice clean cut right through it, no wastage whatsoever. Then we go with our second side. Again, 2 or 3 cuts rather than just try to cut it all in one go. Okay, again we just get the screwdriver in to make sure there's no other pieces waiting to be cut. There is one little wire that didn't cut. Okay, there we are. Okay, now we get it into the vise. Okay, then we can use our screwdriver again and we can wedge out the copper. Okay, there's one piece out. We just twist it up. And that's just to keep it together so we've not got strands of copper going everywhere. Okay, there's one. Okay, here's number 2. Okay, we've got now just our shred steel. This is what you call prepared steel, but as I've mentioned on countless videos before, UK scrapyards don't give you a different cost or a different price for prepared steel. It's all just shred steel, guys, so you know, I still clean it up. I like sending in clean metal. I don't like sending in stuff that's just got, you know, bits and bobs attached to it, bits of plastic here and there and all that kind of stuff. Okay, I'm here to recycle the metal, so I'll try and keep it to metal and try and not have a lot of plastic attached to it. Okay, I can recycle that plastic myself. And there you go, there's our prepared steel, as I said. That will go just in our shred steel bucket, like so. Okay, here's a couple of little bits of copper. It isn't a great deal of copper, it feels very light. Am I going to be able to weigh it on my scales out of battery? No, we've got life guys, we've got life. Okay, so let's stick it 2 grams. It's flashing at me saying I've not got a lot of life left in me, Scottish scrapper. 61.1 grams, which is 2.1 ounces. Okay, so as I say, not a huge deal, not a great deal of copper there, but you know what, guys? It's taking apart motors, and we love taking apart motors because it does give us a little bit of copper. Okay, as I say, not just copper that gave us, it gave us a little bit of brass as well, and gave us a little bit of aluminium. You know, I could have just thrown all of that motor, the last one, into motors, but again, I'm trying to maximise as much as I can, and to do that, the way I maximised it was to take it apart. Okay, we still stick the stator into the motors pile. We're not taking the aluminium out of that, but we have, obviously, as I say, taken the other little pieces that we can to maximise our value. So I hope you enjoyed that one, guys. If you did, please smash that like button. Appreciate all the likes for the video, and the likes really does help the video, helps the algorithm, helps it get shared out there across YouTube. If you did enjoy the video, if you are a subscriber, please hit that share button. Yeah, it doesn't do you any harm. Yeah, share my channel out, I would appreciate that. A lot of great scrappers out there as well, guys, so please have a look at my subscriptions and go and check out some of my friends, some of my other fellow scrappers on YouTube as well. I will be better prepared, I have to say. I've had a lot of nice guys shout me out, and I want to do the same as well for them, so I will be prepared in the next video for all those names. I'll give a shout out to my fellow scrappers, and as I say, please do go and check them out. For now, thank you very much as always for tuning in to Scrapping Scotland, and we will see you on the next teardown. For now, come on Scotland!